You wake up tired, not because your body didn't rest, but because your mind never stopped running. Before your feet even touch the ground, thoughts are already stacking on top of each other. What if I said the wrong thing yesterday? What if I mess up today? What if something goes wrong? It feels like your brain is trying to protect you, trying to prepare you, trying to solve every possible future problem. But instead of helping, it traps you. This is overthinking, and it's not just a bad habit. It's a psychological loop that feeds on your need for certainty in a world that can never give you enough of it. At its core, overthinking is your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do: anticipate, analyze, and avoid danger. Thousands of years ago, this ability kept humans alive. If you heard a noise in the bushes, over-annoying it could mean survival. But today, the threats are no longer wild animals or immediate physical danger. They are social interactions, career decisions, relationships, and self-image. The problem is, your brain hasn't updated its software. It still treats uncertainty as a threat. So when you replay a conversation in your head 10 times, you're not just being too sensitive. Your brain is trying to detect mistakes, trying to prevent rejection, trying to keep you safe. But here's where it goes wrong. Instead of resolving the situation, overthinking amplifies it. It creates more scenarios, more doubts, more imagined outcomes. Each thought leads to another, and before you know it, you're stuck in a mental maze with no exit. The illusion that keeps this cycle alive is the belief that, if you just think a little more, you'll find the answer. You tell yourself, I just need to figure this out. But overthinking doesn't lead to clarity, it leads to paralysis. Because most of the questions you're asking don't have definite answers. What if they misunderstood me? What if I fail? What if this decision is wrong? These are not problems you can solve with more thinking. They are uncertainties you have to tolerate. And that's the uncomfortable truth. Overthinking is not really about thinking too much. It's about avoiding discomfort. It's about trying to control what cannot be controlled. Every time you dive back into that spiral, you're trying to escape a feeling: anxiety, fear, doubt. But instead of facing the feeling, you analyze it. You dissect it. You try to outthink it. And that only gives it more power. Think about how it feels when you're stuck in that loop. Your chest tightens. Your mind races. You feel like you're doing something important, but at the same time, you're exhausted. That's because your brain is burning energy without producing resolution. It's like revving a car engine in neutral. There's noise, there's movement, but you're not actually going anywhere. One of the biggest traps of overthinking is perfectionism. The idea that there is a perfect decision, a perfect response, a perfect version of yourself that you just haven't reached yet, so you keep thinking, keep analyzing, keep delaying action until everything feels certain. But perfection is a moving target. The more you chase it, the further it gets. And in the meantime, life keeps moving without you. Another hidden driver is fear of judgment. You imagine what others might think, how they might interpret your actions, how they might react, and because you can't control their thoughts, you try to predict them. You build entire scenarios in your head, conversations that haven't happened, outcomes that may never exist, and each scenario pulls you deeper into the loop. But here's something most people don't realize. Overthinking gives you a false sense of control. It feels productive. It feels like you're preparing. But in reality, it's a form of avoidance. Because while you're thinking, you're not acting. And action is the only thing that can actually move your life forward. So how do you stop it? Not by forcing your mind to be quiet. That doesn't work. The harder you try to suppress thoughts, the louder they become. Instead, you have to change your relationship with them. You have to recognize that not every thought deserves your attention. Imagine your thoughts like passing cars on a road. Overthinking happens when you chase every single car, trying to inspect it, control it, understand where it's going, but you don't have to chase them. You can stand on the side and watch them pass. The thought appears, you notice it, and you let it go. It sounds simple, but it takes practice. Another powerful shift is moving from thinking to doing. Action interrupts overthinking, even small actions. If you're overanalyzing a decision, set a limit. Give yourself a specific amount of time to think, and then decide. If you're replaying a conversation, redirect your energy into something physical. Move your body, change your environment, engage with the present moment. Because overthinking thrives in stillness and isolation. You also have to accept that uncertainty is part of life. No amount of thinking will eliminate it. There will always be unknowns, always be risks, always be outcomes you cannot predict. And that's not something to solve, it's something to accept. The moment you stop demanding certainty, overthinking loses its grip. There's also a deeper layer to this. Overthinking often comes from a lack of trust. Trust in yourself. You don't trust that you can handle whatever happens, so you try to prepare for everything. But real confidence doesn't come from predicting the future. It comes from knowing that you can deal with it when it arrives. So instead of asking, "What if this goes wrong?" ask yourself, "If it does, can I handle it?" And most of the time, the answer is yes. You've handled difficult situations before. You've adapted, learned, and moved forward. That's proof that you don't need to overthink your way to safety. Breaking the cycle of overthinking is not about becoming someone who never thinks deeply. It's about knowing when thinking becomes unhelpful. It's about recognizing the moment when analysis turns into rumination, when reflection turns into fear. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can follow the loop, or you can step out of it. You can keep searching for answers that don't exist. Or you can take action despite the uncertainty. Because the truth is, clarity doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from living more, from taking risks, making decisions, learning through experience, from allowing life to unfold instead of trying to control every detail of it. Overthinking will tell you to wait, to analyze, to be careful. But growth doesn't happen in waiting. It happens in doing. It happens when you accept that things might not go perfectly, and you move forward anyway. So the next time your mind starts spiraling, pause and notice it. Not to fight it, not to judge it, but to see it for what it is, a pattern, not a truth. And then gently bring yourself back to the present, back to what you can actually control. Your actions, your choices, your attention, because you are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. And once you realize that, you gain something powerful, the ability to choose which thoughts you engage with and which ones you let pass. And that's how you stop overthinking, not by silencing your mind, but by no longer letting it control you.